Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Codes Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation today is Rag Gaudi, Cheti Mahalla Panjwa Dopade, a two-verse composition of the fifth Nanak, Guru Arjan, in Rag Gaudi. And the recitation begins with Ik Onkar Satgur Prasad. Raam ko Bal Puran Bhai, ताते बृथा न व्यापे काई रहाओ। जो जो चितवै दास हरमाई, सो सो करता आप कराई। निंदक की प्रभ पत गवाई, नानक हर गुण निर्भो गाई। निंदक की प्रभ पत गवाई, नानक हर गुण निर्भो गाई. It's a very short passage. And here, what the Guru is trying to do is to emphasize what he said in the previous Shabad, if you recall, where he said that the Supreme Self is the efficient and material cause of the universe. Karan Karavan Puran Sach Soy. So in this Shabad, he reiterates the same message. So the question would be, why are we being asked to acknowledge or realize that the power of the Supreme Self is absolute? So Raam ko Bal Puran Bhai, my brethren, Raam ko Bal Puran, tate birtha na vyape kai. Here's the condition. And the condition is that those who acknowledge the absolute power of the Ram self remain untroubled by the vicissitudes of life, the vagaries of existence, the ups and downs. So the question is, how does this happen? Why is that so? So the reason that the Guru is asking us to acknowledge, to nod our heads to the power of the Supreme Self, is that he wishes to bring about a psychological breakthrough. He's trying to evolve our mind into an equanimous acceptance of life. Acceptance, santok. This is the beginning of Hukam Rajai Chalana, which has this quality of acceptance. But this quality will emerge only when we first become aware of the power of Hukam, because the Supreme Self acts through his Hukam. So we have to realize the power of Hukam and then also recognize, by paying close attention to the forces of nature around us, that Hukam invariably takes its course. It just does not pay for us to swim against it. But that is exactly what our Haume does. It's constantly flowing against the current of Hukam. And what does that do? We find ourselves flailing our arms as if going upstream, not getting anywhere. So that leaves us in a state of constant existential angst. So what the Guru wants us to do is to go with the flow of Hukam. But we have to figure out which way the flow is before we can flow with the Hukam. And the point to note is that we are always going to fail when we act out of Haume, because we are going against the current of the river or the ocean. And so here the forces of nature, both external, the physical universe around us, as well as the internal, the mental, psychological universe within. If you remember the previous passage again, something similar was said, that Hukam works not only on the outside, the physical world, but it also regulates societal behavior and individual tendencies. The structure of our mind is hukam. So when we identify with haume, we get into trouble. What is happening is that we misidentify ourselves as an independent center of experience and do not identify at all with anything outside of us, me, I. And that creates a problem. It becomes the source of fear, existential fear, and that's how we tend to live. But if we acknowledge and realize that the power of the Supreme, that hukam is working through everything and everyone, then it triggers a sense of acceptance. And you give up this sense of I being the doer or the mover or the shaker, because you recognize that there is a power much bigger, a remarkable power, that actually is the doer, as the previous Shabad said. So when that recognition dawns, there is an integration. There is an alignment with hukam. And that brings about the integration of two minds, the haume mind and the universal hukam mind. Now remember, both of these minds are within you, but they have been fragmented. So you're left with the haume mind, which formulates reactions only to the immediate physical environment, is more driven by survival. But with the integration, the mind develops a deeper sense of overall intuitive impressions from the non-physical world, and together now we are acting out of an integrated mind. And when that happens, the Guru says, Jo jo chitva das har mai, so karta aap karai. The Creator enables whatever the servant's self envisions. Because you're looking at the world through the lens of that wisdom. You can discern hukam, the flow of hukam, and therefore you can act accordingly. This is a way to recover your real power. And yet, Nindak ki prabh pat gavai, nanak har gun nirbho gai. Nindak ki pat. Pat is honor in ordinary language, but it actually means a covenant that the individual has with the self. So that's a lost opportunity. Nindak is one who slanders, but the more appropriate meaning here is the one who discredits this method. They, the Guru says, have lost their covenant. They've broken their covenant and they've missed an opportunity. And that opportunity may or may not come. Nanak har guna nirbho gai. But Nanak sang his way into the fearless har. And that's the message for us. On that note, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.